I think we can all agree that drawing hair is very overwhelming for people who, one, are very inexperienced, and two, people who just don't have time for that. As an artist, I need to be popping out art pics all the time, and so I've developed a method that I'm going to show you guys today that I use for a lot of my drawings, and it's a very simple, easy, quick way to draw hair. And of course, I'm going to break this down into a few easy steps for everybody to follow. And with that being said, let's just jump right in. For this method, you will need a reference photo with a lot of contrast, a medium that blends, and an eraser. So you probably have access to all of these things. For the reference photo, I just like to use Google or Pinterest. Ta-da! There she is. This is the reference photo that I'll be using today. So I'll be drawing this, just a little bit more simple version of it. And you guys know the drill. All the supplies will be in the description box below along with links. And this time, for real, let's begin.
Is math related to science?
Step number 1, all we're going to do is to create an outline of the hair shape. We're not going to focus on highlights or shadows, just a nice outline. So once you got your bald Katy Perry going, what you're going to do is finish off her head shape. You'll notice that I'm kind of making her look like an alien at first, but then I slowly carve it out into a ponytail. So if you're a beginner and you're just not having it today, or you're not confident in your hair shape, you can trace it. And before everybody gets out the pitchforks, because I do understand there's that stigma about tracing, I made a whole video about is it good, is it bad, and you can check it out in the card above. And would you look at that, we are already done with step number 1. I'm telling you guys, this is going to be a super simple tutorial. Now on to phase 2. So for this next step, all you're going to do is outline the highlighted areas of the hair. So if you're a little bit more advanced, you can look at a photo like this and you'll know exactly where all the highlights, shadows, contrast, midtones, where everything's at. But if you're not as advanced, that's alright. I still got you, fam. I'm going to edit this photo so you guys can see where everything's at. So in 3, 2, 1. Boom. So now that we have this really creepy looking image up, you guys are only seeing the highlights and the shadows. And this is what we're drawing today. And I don't want you guys worrying about the proportions and does it look good or is it good enough, because most of this is just going to be covered up, filled in, and erased anyway. So don't stress about it. This is a stress-free zone and just try your best. I know I sound like a mom, but it's true. Just try your best and we'll go on to the next step in a second. Okay, so filling it in, and we can move on to our next phase. This is a super simple step, and that is to fill in everything that's not a highlight outline. I repeat, everything that's not a highlight. I think this step is the easiest out of all of them, because all you're doing is just doing a nice, flat, even wash of color, or I guess lack of color if you're using black. Again, don't worry about individual hair strokes, don't worry about highlights, don't worry about shadows or anything, just worry about filling it out evenly. And I will admit, out of all the steps, this one's probably the most time consuming, but it's a lot easier than you would traditionally making hair by building up sections and adding individual hair strokes. So once you're done, you should have something that looks like this. And you can move into step 4 of 5. So all you're going to do now is just blend and then just add a few little hair strokes in the white areas. So put that pencil down, get your finger out or whatever blender you're using, and just blend. Now I personally like to use my finger to blend charcoal. I know I get a lot of crap for it, but I don't know, I just do me. And it's important you blend everything out before the next step because this will be as a transition. Okay, so now that that's good, it's time for the magic to happen. So all I'm doing now is the very hard task of adding strokes. Now I'm totally kidding, it's super easy. All you're going to do is literally just add light strokes with whatever medium you're using. Just enough to fill up all the white sections of the hair. And as you can see, it's truly starting to take form to look like something right now. Given it is a little streaky, but that's what step 5 is for. And for the last step, all you're going to do now is blend the lines that we just created and then add even more lines with an eraser. I think you guys are really starting to see a pattern here. So now we just created lines, we're blending, And then once you're done blending, you add more lines. So it is a back and forth between adding lines, blending, adding lines, blending, adding lines, blending. And shout out to my boy Eraser Pencil. So yeah, what this method is a lot easier for people to understand, especially if you're a beginner, than trying to explain sections of the hair and hair strokes and, you know, things like that. This is so much more easier. Now, I do have videos all about how to draw hair, and I will also link that down below as well as in the card right here, so you can check that out. But if you try this, let me know. Da 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 da! Here is the final version of what I ended up putting on Instagram. I did add a few shadows to the hair and lowered the hairline, but other than that, what you see in the picture is what I did on camera. It's simple, it's easy, and I honestly think you guys can do this. Now before we go real quick, I want to ask you something.
Is math related to science?
No, I'm totally kidding. I'm working on Art Conspiracies Part 2. Do you guys want to see that? Let me know in the comments below. And with that being said, I love you guys, and I will see you next video.